Hey there, Sank, everybody. Welcome back for another amazing video. Today, we're going to be talking about the current economics, the situation in the world when it comes to inflation, interest rates, and also potentially a lot of jobs being lost. And on top of that, how does that affect the crypto market? And what can we see in the future? So, without any further ado, let's get this video started. All right, guys, how are you guys doing? Hope everything is good with you guys. So, seems like there's a lot of issues coming up when it comes to the greater economics and the discussion on recession. So, I'm just gonna play a video here right now. You guys can watch this.
So the Fed has raised interest rates 8 times over the last year in what has been the most extreme rate hike cycle in 40 years. The Fed's goal is to slow inflation, and your tool, raising interest rates, is designed to slow the economy and throw people out of work. So far, you haven't tipped the economy into recession, but you haven't brought inflation entirely under control either. And maybe the reason for that is that other things are also keeping prices high, things you can't fix with high interest rates, things like price gouging and supply chain kinks and a war in Ukraine. But you are determined to continue to raise interest rates, so I want to take a look at where you're headed. In December, the Fed released its projections on the state of the economy under your monetary policy plan. According to the Fed's own report, if you continue raising interest rates as you plan, unemployment will be 4.6% by the end of the year, more than a full point higher than it is today. Chair Powell, if you hit your projections, do you know how many people who are currently working, going about their lives, will lose their jobs?
I don't have that number in front of me. I will say it's not an
just a math
intended
problem.
consequence. It's
Well,
not.
but it is, and it's in your report, and that would be about 2 million people who would lose their jobs, people who are working right now, making their mortgages. So, Chair Powell, if you could speak directly to the 2 million hardworking people who have decent jobs today, who you're planning to get fired over the next year, what would you say to them? How would you explain your view that they need to lose their jobs?
So, you guys can see in this video the discussion about how potentially a million jobs may be lost in the upcoming few months when it comes to the economics in America. But unfortunately, that affects the global economics also, and that of course affects the stock market, the forex market, the real estate market, and the crypto market. So because of that, potentially we're seeing that the crash might get exaggerated, and from the 20,000 ranges we might even see us going back into the 18, 16, 15 range. Now, I talked about this in a previous video, talking about what's going on with the crypto market. Do we see a bull market? Do we think it's a bear market? And I said we will relook at this in March, and here we are in March, relooking at the situation. And it seems like due to one, this, and I'll talk about a few other reasons after, uh, that the crash is still gonna be going on and the bear market will continue. So this is one of the reasons which may affect the economics. Plus, there's a lot of jobs being lost to automation and AI. We might 5 years ago we were talking about this and we were like, oh, come on, how can automation make every job go in? And AI is not gonna affect that many jobs, right? But unfortunately, the truth is, ChatGPT is just a start. And ChatGPT is just a small AI system, and the potential is much, much, much further than you think. Now, with Boston Engineering, which creates robots and stuff, that with AI intertwined, we're looking at potentially recreating labor force. And here, let me kind of give you guys an example. When you're already working virtually, technically, you're not even physically a labor. Your requirement of a physical push pull is gone. It's all intellectual. And now just imagine if that intellectual can be done by something else, and that being AI. Do people really need your job? Right? Do they really need your help? Or big business, do they really need your input in running their business? The reality is no. Right now, as I speak, I've been studying how we can fully automate a end-to-end business, and maybe one person just needs to do a few clicks here and there, and it'll run automatically on its own. You just need to have good computers, you need to have good servers, you need to have good backup, like in the sense of data and all that stuff, and you're good to go. We're talking about marketing businesses. We're talking about businesses that require creativity, writing, journalism, video creation, all this stuff can be fully automated. And this is just the beginning. And HR could be fully automated. All these things can be fully automated now. And because of that, there are already jobs that are being lost as we speak. So, we're seeing massive layoffs from major big companies. We already talked about this, but it's continuing. And because of all of this, it's also going to affect the economy and potentially make the bear market even more bear until the industries can recoup themselves, learn new skills, and bring out new industries, and then the market will start going back up. But that time, from the 2008 crash, it took multiple years. Some economists even talk about that we're still recovering from it. I'm not trying to be pessimistic. I'm very optimistic, but I'm trying to say is that there might be a few years before you can see a full recoup of the economy if the jobs continue being lost the way they are, and if inflation continues going the way it is. To add on to this whole shebang, another thing to talk about is interest rates and inflation. What's going on with that? So seems like inflation has started to halt, but it hasn't started to come down, which means there's a potential of increasing interest rates ongoing, and which also means that it will affect the tax rates. And as we see globally, and with the Biden's new budget, which is for the next, I believe, 10 years that he's put out, he's increasing debt, he's increasing taxes, and hopefully from the economic situation, interest rates can be decreased, and inflation will be decreased. Anyway, what that's going to do is that's going to exaggerate the situation even worse for the bear market. Now that puts Powell and his situation aside, and the interest rates and inflation. Let's talk a little bit about what happened with the Silicon Valley Bank and the bank run. And we can see this happening in multiple countries across the world, previously before a crash came, and we're starting to see this actually again, like 2008, in the West. So what happened was there's this really, really big bank, popular bank in Silicon Valley, which actually funds and manages the funds for a lot of big startups there. And we're talking about, all in billions of dollars. Now, what happened was there was a small sellout from the executives, or you can say the CEO. And what that did was there was a news that went out and became a rumor that, there's a bank run happening. And actually, that rumor came into existence because actually there wasn't a bank run initially, but because of that news going rumor, people started rushing over to the bank, these startup companies, and started pulling out their money. And because it's fractional lending, the bank doesn't have all that money because they've loaned it out continuously as a multiplier effect. And so now people are coming and asking for their money, but there is no money, and it made the entire bank crash, and they had to default. And so that right there has started a situation where now other banks will start seeing bank runs. Now, from a personal level, I from a year ago, I had already started sensing this because you can see it with other economics or the other countries around, Europe, where these type of situations are already existing. So I already, on a personal level, advised people close to me that we should try to keep less money in the bank and keep it more into like assets like gold and commodities, and keep that commodities outside of your bank, so your bank cannot touch it. Keep them inside your house, or keep them, in a situation where you have more control over it than others. And frankly, you can just keep it in crypto because no one's ever no if and if it's a non-custodial wallet, no one can ever touch it except you or the person that knows the 12 key phrases. All right, side topic finished. Back to the main topic. Now, what will this do to the economics of Bitcoin? Now, let's just say a lot more banks start crashing like this, which means that the money will start coming out of the banks, which will push the economy into a bigger loss and and slow down even more, because people can't loan money. If they can't loan money, they won't be able to purchase more things. And the West, unfortunately, is a debt-based society where everything's on loans, everything's on credit cards. If you own $1, you own $1.80 worth of debt. So you almost have twice as much debt as you do in regards to what you're holding in your hand as income or assets. So yeah, so it's going to create a bigger situation, worse situation. Now, to add on top of that, let's talk about technical and fundamental analysis. All right, we're just going to talk a little bit about charting, because this video is already long enough, but we're going to get into the aspects of charting. So looking at the BTC chart, we're right now around $22,000 USD. Now, what do we see according to charts? According to the charts, according to the cycles, in the short run, you can still make money from the peaks and the lows and the peaks and the lows with BTC, Ethereum, BNB, whatever other token you want to. However, I'd be a little bit more on the cautious side, that you don't want to be too much involved or too much leverage, because let's just say the bank runs start, inflation gets worse, something else happens in the economy, and there's a crash. And if there's a crash, before you know it, people will be selling their BTC, and we can potentially see it going down to 1400, 1500. Non-financial advice, obviously. You guys got to do your own research on all of this, and let me know what you guys think in the comments below. That's it for this video, guys. Take care of yourself, and keep your duas. Assalamu alaikum.